Fantasy Sports Boss live, very earliest stream I've ever done. Road trip time. I'm taking a road trip. I'm going to be on the road for quite a few hours this morning, so I thought it'd be a good time to jump on. I'm using the YouTube app though, so I might go in and out. The audio may be pretty crappy at times. I apologize, but I figured it's better than nothing. There's a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about in fantasy football and the NFL in general, also the NFL draft. If you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe, hit the notification, and the like button. That way you're made aware when new videos are added. New streams like this are added as well. Now, for myself personally, I have the whole week off. Those of you who are subscribers know that I am in education, have the next week off for February break. So taking a road trip to go visit my pops, while my wife and kids are headed to Texas to visit her side of the family. So we kind of split our vacations up this week. We're going to get back to, we'll do a family vacation, probably either Hershey Park or Great Wolf Lodge on the East Coast there during the Easter break. But like I said, I got some time to kill. I want to discuss some things. Today, the New York Jets are going to welcome in Derek Carr. So Derek Carr is going to visit the Jets. Oh man, the sun is just killing me today. Sorry about that. If there's a lot of glare, I apologize. It's 7 a.m. here in the East Coast, so I'm dealing with a little bit of that right now. But Derek Carr visiting with the Jets today. They're going to wine and dine him. Obviously the Jets have a crying need for a quarterback. Is Derek Carr the answer? I think he could be the answer. Do they wait for Aaron Rodgers to come out of his 4-day dark room, whatever this guy is just fucking weird, man. I don't know. I just don't understand how this guy rolls. But, with the psychedelics and all this other stuff, be that as it may, Aaron Rodgers is the best option out there. And for the Jets, who have a ready-made team, I think that could win a Super Bowl this year. I really do. If they get Aaron Rodgers, and this is coming from a Giants fan, I think that they could win a Super Bowl. Those who are just jumping in, by the way, I am taking a road trip, so that's why I'm in the car. Got plenty of time to kill, so want to jump on. And again, like I said at the top, if the audio goes in and out, just stick with it. I'm using the real shitty YouTube app, so that unfortunately, without the laptop available while I'm driving, that's the best I can do. But anyway, as far as the Jets, an interesting dynamic could be developing here. And what I mean by that is, if Derek Carr meets the Jets today, they have a good meeting, he likes what he hears, and he says to the Jets, listen, we got a lot of teams that are calling about me, a lot of teams that are going to be interested in my services. I know you have an interest in Aaron Rodgers. It's going to probably be a while before compensation can be worked out, the money, the contract, Rodgers' own loopiness before a decision is made in terms of Rodgers. If you're Carr, do you say to the Jets, listen, I will sign here tonight, if you can just give me an answer now? Or do the Jets make the calculated call to let him leave the building, leave the premises, while they wait for Aaron Rodgers, and possibly end up with neither guy? So that's the scenario that confronts the Jets right now. And it's a tough one, honestly. I've gone back and forth on this. You're not hearing much about Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think the Jets are interested in him. Usually there's smoke, there's fire when it comes to these things, and I hear nothing about Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'm from New York. So there's been nothing written about that. There's been some Justin Fields rumblings, and I've talked about that in the video, the other day. And I still think, as far as the Jets, I think Derek Carr, they are very intrigued by that was thrown around yesterday. He's 0-7 when temperature's 32 degrees or below. I'm not really interested in that. I think that's a small sample size. But I think the Jets, they could win a Super Bowl, I think, with Derek Carr. They have very strong personnel on the lines, offensive and defensive line, and that's the key, really. To win a Super Bowl, you need a stacked defensive and offensive line, and the Jets have that. They have a stud running back in Breece Hall, who I think will be ready to go in week 1. Now, his fantasy football value, that's a whole nother story, which I'll get into in a little bit. They have Garrett Wilson, phenomenal future receiver. I mean, the guy's money. They have a good pass-catching tight end, Tyler Conklin. They have a tremendous, probably already the best cornerback in the game in Sauce Gardner. So they have a team, and I didn't even mention Keenan Williams, defensive tackle, who I think they will re-sign. The all-pro defensive tackle for the Jets. I think that this is a team that could win a Super Bowl, and it pains me to say that as a Giants fan. But it's true. So I think the Jets need to do, you know, here's the thing too, and I get this point. If Rodgers plays with the Jets 2 years tops, they have a very good chance to win the Super Bowl. With Derek Carr, they will make the playoffs, but let's say he stays for 5 years. Are you more happy with the fact that he can bring the Jets to the playoff 4 out of the 5 years, but they don't win it? Or you get Aaron Rodgers for 2 years and he wins the Super Bowl? I don't think there's any discussion on which side you would take if you're a Jets fan. So that's the question. And I think if Aaron Rodgers wasn't as batshit crazy as he is, maybe this would be an easier decision for the Jets. But I don't know. So I'd be very interested to see what happens here. There's a lot of big names right now that could be released in the coming days. Adam Thielen is somebody that I've been reading about possibly getting released by the Vikings, and it makes sense. You know, he's definitely slipping. They got KJ Osborne, who looked like he was ready to be a primetime receiver. You have this situation in Dallas. Ezekiel Elliott looks like he's going to stay. I thought he was going to be a prime candidate to get released. Tony Pollard's a free agent. Saquon Barkley's a free agent. You have the Minnesota situation. Dalvin Cook could very well get released. Okay? Alexander Mattison is Dalvin Cook. You know, but 4 or 5 years younger. However younger Mattison is, the Vikings have an interesting decision on their hands. Do you just simply cut Dalvin Cook and replace him with Alexander Mattison? I'm sorry, I gotta put the phone down once in a while. I got tolls to pay and coffee to drink and all this other stuff. But that's a very interesting situation, if you ask me. I think you cut Dalvin Cook and you just re-sign Alexander Mattison. The Vikings are set. All right? And it's interesting because I've been working on my annual fantasy football draft guide, and for the first time ever, and I've been putting out NFL fantasy football draft guides for years, for almost over 15 years now. And this year, for the first time, I'm going to put out 2 editions, an early offseason edition and then a post-NFL draft edition. I want to get the information out, you know, waiting for the NFL draft. And let's face it, the NFL draft really skews things when it comes to fantasy football, because especially with running backs and receivers and quarterbacks and trades. I mean, look at A.J. Brown getting traded and Hollywood Brown. Both of those guys were traded during the first round of the draft last April. So there's a lot of fantasy football movement, events. That's not the word I'm looking for, but, happenings, if you will, that will shape the upcoming season. So I thought this year, and I've already gone through a lot of the player profiles. I've done the player profiles on players who are stable, who are not going anywhere. I haven't done the player profiles on guys like Derek Carr or Saquon Barkley, who, are free agents, have quarterback question marks. There could be quarterback changes like Chris Olave. I didn't do his write-up yet because who knows who the Saints quarterback is going to be. And it could be Derek Carr. Okay? So I'm probably going to release my initial early offseason NFL fantasy football draft guide sometime in March. And then the post-NFL draft edition fantasy football draft guide will come out obviously after the draft in April. So that's what I'm looking at right now. And like I said, I've really already started diving in on, let's see if I can put this phone. So that way you guys can see me and I don't have to hold it. Sorry about that. I'm trying to keep it. All right. Well, that's the best I can do. I'm already formulating the guys I think are going to be what I call my guys in yearly fantasy football. And Travis Kelce has to be one of my guys. I'm willing to use my first round pick on Travis Kelce in every league. I know he's 30. He's going to be entering his age 34 season. But the guy is an absolute fantasy football cheat code in every way imaginable. All right? I've already beaten this stat into the ground, but over 100 fantasy points higher than the second highest scoring PPR tight end, that was TJ Hawkinson. I believe it was 105. So Kelce scored 105 more PPR fantasy points than TJ Hawkinson, who was number 2. In average fantasy points per game in PPR, he was 5 more than George Kittle. And George Kittle always misses games with injury. Travis Kelce does not miss games with injury. Now, I know, again, he's going to be his age 34 season. But you tell me, you watched Travis Kelce last season. Did you see any signs of a slip-up? I saw 0. There was no signs of slip-up from Travis Kelce last season. He was phenomenal. It was his best season ever. And, you know, when Tyreek Hill got traded, this is what I had said in last year's draft guide. Kelce's just going to get more work. And then, oh no, he's going to get double teamed. Listen, it was trending on Twitter this past year. How is Travis Kelce always open? Well, when you have Andy Reid as your coach, who might be the greatest offensive mind of this generation, he's going to get Travis Kelce open. He's constantly in motion. He works in the slot where he's going to have to deal with nickelbacks who cannot keep up with him, both size-wise and speed-wise. He's about as good of a route runner as you're ever going to get. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, great hands. He walls off defenders perfectly. He sets up defenders better than any receiver, you know, better than 99.9% of receivers in the NFL. Travis Kelce does. And the fact that he's constantly in motion, make it impossible to jam him, to shadow him. So, while he's going to his age 34 season, I am drafting Travis Kelce in the first round. I'm saying it right now. I'm putting it out right now. Travis Kelce is my first round pick in all fantasy football leagues this year. Last year at this time, I said Justin Jefferson, and I did it. I had the 4th pick in one league and took Justin Jefferson. This year, it's going to be Travis Kelce. I am taking him in the first round in all my leagues. Now, listen, it's scary not taking a receiver or running back around one. I get it. I'm 100% down with that. But when you own Kelce, and the one of the 2 leagues I won a championship last year, I had Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce was on more championship fantasy football winning teams than any other player. Look it up. Any other player in PPR leagues. Not standard, PPR. Why? Because of that inherent massive advantage he had over every other tight end. You started every matchup based on the average points last season. You started every weekly matchup 5 points, more than 5 points ahead of your opponent in PPR leagues last year because of owning Travis Kelce. 5. Justin Jefferson, I believe, was only 2 or 3 points ahead of Tyreek Hill, who was number 2. I think Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, the difference was about 1.5 points. So if you're looking to get the biggest bang for your first-round fantasy football buck, it's Travis Kelce. You can't match that. And so then in round 2, you could take Ramondre Stevenson, who I think is going to be an excellent PPR running back. He ran out of gas down the stretch last season, no doubt about it. And he's got to work on his ball control a little bit. Bijan Robinson, the rookie from Texas, I absolutely would use a second-round pick on him. He is a generational talent. Bijan Robinson of Texas will do a Saquon Barkley rookie year impression. When Barkley came out and was the offensive player of the year, caught 90 passes, you know, scored touchdowns all over the place. That is what Bijan Robinson is capable of doing right out of the gate. Brian Robinson, the Commanders running back. I'd be fine taking him in third round. Calvin Ridley, who's back on the juggernaut Jaguars. He is going to be a wide receiver 1 who's going to catch 10 to 12 touchdown passes. And you all know I love Trevor Lawrence. So here's a scenario. You take Kelce first round. You take Ramondre Stevenson in round 2. You take Calvin Ridley round 3. Calvin Ridley in round 3 could be a wide receiver 1. And then in round 4, you take Trevor Lawrence. Excuse me. So how about that start? And that is very likely a likely scenario that could happen. Kelce round 1. Ramondre Stevenson round 2. Calvin Ridley round 3. And again, Calvin Ridley's you're going to be your top wideout? Yes. With the Falcons, he was a huge red zone contributor. And on the Jaguars, the pass-happy Doug Peterson Jaguars, he's going to catch 80-plus passes, bare minimum. And then you take Trevor Lawrence and you stack it, because you know I want those dual-threat quarterbacks. You take Trevor Lawrence in round 4. So you have Lawrence, Ridley, Stevenson, Kelce. You're on your way to a fantasy football championship. That's it. And then in round 5, round 6, round 7, you start, working out the rest of your lineup. Your second running back may not be great. Your third receiver may not be that great. But you know what? Here's another option. Ready? If the Jets get Aaron Rodgers, I am taking Garrett Wilson in the second round, and I'll take Brian Robinson of the Commanders in round 3. So there's another setup. Ready? Travis Kelce round 1. Garrett Wilson round 2. Brian Robinson, Commanders round 3. Or you could go Calvin Ridley again, and then you take Trevor Lawrence in round 4. So you're then talking about a 0 running back strategy, and then you got to look. Then round 5 and 6, and even 7, you probably got to take running backs. But in PPR, how about that start? Kelce, Garrett Wilson, Calvin Ridley, Trevor Lawrence. Holy shit, sign me up right now. Garrett Wilson with Aaron Rodgers could be Davante Adams. First round production in the second round. And here's the thing, guys. You always need to find draft value. Garrett Wilson could be a first round pick in 2024. You could get him as late as at the end of round 2 in 2023. That's a draft slot inequality that wins leagues. Calvin Ridley, same thing. If you get him in round 3, next year, 2024, he could be a round 2 receiver in that offense. You take Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, first pick, second pick. The volume's there. Great players. Both, McCaffrey's 27, Eckler's 28. I know last season, the running back chaos really wasn't that bad. Now, in 2020 and 2021, the running back chaos was off the charts. Almost every prime running back that went in the first 2 rounds had a bad year or was injured in those 2 seasons. Last season, not so much. McCaffrey, Eckler, Barkley, Henry, all justified first-round draft spots. All 4 of them. Now, Kamara shit the bed, no doubt. Dalvin Cook was disappointing. Joe Mixon, take out that one game, he shit the bed. So those guys didn't work out, but they were more second-round picks. Dalvin Cook was late first round. DeAndre Swift bust, hands down. He was a late first, early second. So there was still about a 50% hit rate among the first 2 rounds at running back. Now let's look at receiver. Round 1 receivers. Davante Adams was a hit. Stephon Diggs was a hit. Justin Jefferson, a massive hit. Okay? Cooper Kupp was on his way to being another massive hit, and then the injury happened. Man, this sun is killing me, excuse me, guys. And then the injury happened. So that was a miss through injury. All right, so no doubt about it. Jamar Chase, same thing. He was a hit when he was on the field, but wound up dealing with injury. Travis Kelce, massive hit. So, and then again, you look at the quarterback. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, mid-round picks, late-round picks in Justin Fields' case, dual threat guys, and they went crazy. Next season, Bryce Young could be phenomenal right out of the gate. CJ Stroud could be phenomenal out of the gate. I know Ohio State quarterbacks have a very ugly history in the NFL. There's no doubt about it. So I have a little bit of pause on Stroud, but I do like him as a player, as a prospect. I have bumped him now behind Bryce Young, though, in my quarterback rankings. Will Levis, terrific athlete. Will Levis is giving me some Blake Bortles vibes. Will Levis, he's giving me some Blake Bortles vibes, which is not a comparison you want to have if you're a quarterback prospect. Richardson of Florida, Michael Vick vibes. Excuse me, I'll take it back. Jalen Hurts vibes, Richardson from Florida. But not as a rookie. He needs some schooling, okay? Like Justin Fields and like Hurts out of the gate, shaky quarterback play in terms of throwing the football. Can run it, tremendous athlete, Richardson, no doubt about it, but I think he's going to need a year. So like I said, if you take Kelce in round 1 next season, which I fully plan on doing, round 2, you go Garrett Wilson, who with Aaron Rodgers would put up a Devontae Adams season. Round 3, you go Calvin Ridley, who could be a prime wide receiver 1. And then round 4, Trevor Lawrence, you do the stack. That is a terrific start in PPR leagues. And then round 5, 6, 7, you go running backs. Maybe a rookie running back. Last summer, Dameon Pierce, you could have got him in that range, 5, 6, 7. And look how that turned out. So, those are all options. Now, those who are just joining us, guys, I'm on a road trip. That's why I'm in the car. If the feed goes in and out, going through wooded areas and whatnot, that may happen, but just stick with me. So, that's what I'm looking at right now. I love Kelce. I love Calvin Ridley. I love Garrett Wilson. I love Brian Robinson. I love Bijan Robinson. I love Ramondre Stevenson. I'm not drafting Dalvin Cook. I'm not drafting Austin Eckler or Christian McCaffrey. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. 27 and 28. And now, listen, I just did that video on Eckler. I think he's safe for another year, but I want Kelce in round 1. Failing that, I want Justin Jefferson. Guys, you can't ignore the numbers. Kelce is that much of a cheat code, that much of an advantage. You have to take him in round 1. I don't think there's any question. And again, at running back, 27 and older, I'm done. I made a mistake. I went against my own better judgment and took Leonard Fournette, age 27 for 2022, and it fucking blew up in my face. Not again. So, 27 and older club, Leonard Fournette, done. Dalvin Cook, done. Joe Mixon, done. Derrick Henry, done. Christian McCaffrey, done. Austin Eckler, done. When I say done, I'm not saying they're done as productive players. I say done as me drafting them. Aaron Jones, 28, hate the offense. I'm the biggest Aaron Jones fan there is. The timeshare has kept him relevant longer than than somebody who right out of the gate was a bell cow back. And the same thing goes with Eckler, because he wasn't a bell cow back right off, his first few years in the league because of Melvin Gordon. But I'm shying away from him too, especially now with A.J. Dillon becoming a bigger part of the offense. Running backs I like, I already told you, the 2 B. Robinsons, Brian and Bijan. Brian Robinson had a very good year as a rookie. He dealt with that awful gunshot situation. Just an awful thing that kind of derailed his rookie campaign. But he finished strong, and he's a capable receiver as well. If Antonio Gibson could just get the hell out of the way, I'd be even more... All right, I had to reconnect, guys. Sorry about that. What I was saying was Javonte Williams' injury was very severe, so I'm not touching that. We saw when Saquon had his own severe injury the year he came back, the following year rather, he wasn't as good. Last year, we saw the old Saquon, finally. These guys need a full year before they're back to their old selves. Breece Hall, it was a clean tear. Not as extensive as Javonte Williams, so I am more apt to go for Breece Hall in round 2 if he's there. He was so good, my God. He was tremendous. Ramondre Stevenson, love him. Now, I know he let us down the stretch last season, but I'm in. David Montgomery, no way. I'm faster than David Montgomery. So, I'm going to be very picky about my running backs. But listen, here's one for you. Tyler Algier, he was terrific the second half of the season. He really was. And he showed he could catch the football. Cordero Patterson, I don't think is going to be back. I think that ship has sailed. So, Tyler Algier, I think he could be a 4th or 5th round pick. I really do. The team sucks, but they're very run heavy. So, if you can get him as your second running back in round 5, I'm in. Dameon Pierce. I like Dameon Pierce a lot. He's a capable receiver. Caught a lot of balls at Florida. Was underutilized as a receiver with the Texans. But the team was just so bad. I like Dameon Pierce. So, again, Saquon Barkley. I'm giving him one more year, too. He's 26. So, those are the guys I like. Those are the guys I dislike at running back. At receiver, if I can't get Travis Kelce, round 1, I'm happy with Jefferson, Diggs. I'm even going back to the well with Cooper Kupp. I know he's had 2 serious injuries, the last 4 years. But Matthew Stafford's back. That's all he throws to is Cooper Kupp. So I would give it one more year. There is risk there, though. But Stephon Diggs, as dependable a guy as you can get. Boy, there's a lot of cops out here today. Wouldn't that be funny if I got pulled over while I was doing this? But, my hands are free, so. I lost my train. Oh, yeah. So, Stephon Diggs, I'm in. Devontae Adams, I got to see what the quarterback situation is. He's inching up there. For receivers, when they hit 30, that's when the trouble starts. Mike Evans last year. Keenan Allen last year. I know Evans is 29, but the mileage on him is extreme. So I'm very leery of those receivers that are 30 and older. Devontae Adams is going to be 30 next year. A lot of mileage. Interesting, shaky, possibly shaky quarterback situation. So I'm not going in on him. You got to understand, guys, I'm very, like the I'm going to throw a wrestling reference, like the $1 Million Man used to say in WWF. Everybody's got a price. I would take all of these guys at the right price, but at their standard market values, these are my opinions. Failing to get Kelce or Jefferson in round 1, I'm going Stephon Diggs or Jamar Chase. Either one. Okay? I think Chase, that offense is just stacked. And they're very, very pass heavy. They got the most accurate quarterback that I've ever seen since Troy Aikman and Joe Burrow. I love that offense. And that's another thing. What's going on with T. Higgins? Is he going to get traded? I think he could be an NFL draft trade guy. They're going to have to cut corners somewhere. There's a lot of guys that are going to have to get paid in this offense. All right? There's extensions coming for a lot of these players in Cincinnati. So I think that T. Higgins could wind up being traded. You know what? Giants. There's a guy that you got to go out and get. And T. Higgins as a number 1 wideout on the Giants, yes, please. I'm in. So those are the guys that I like. I like Calvin Ridley. I love Stephon Diggs. But listen, there's also no doubt about it. Stephon Diggs fucked his owners royally. He screwed his owners blue with those single-digit performances during the fantasy football playoffs of all time. And it wasn't weather-related either. And I've always said this, when you draft Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, you do it knowing that there's a possibility weather is going to derail a fantasy football week. That's just the nature of the game, the gamble you take when you draft Buffalo players. With the wind and the snow and all that. It could ground the passing game to an absolute halt. So, that's the risk you run there. But I'm trying to think off the top of my head as well. I'm out on Mike Evans. I'm out on Keenan Allen. Mike Williams, I do like. I still have a lot of respect for Mike Williams. Man, those injuries were frustrating, though. He's a little bit made of glass, Mike Williams, and extremely hot cold. That gets very annoying with Mike Evans. With Mike Williams. It does. It gets very frustrating. Week to week inconsistencies. But I'm willing at the right price. And there's another guy. I don't think you can get him in round 4. I think he's a round 3 or 4 guy. I know the injury's going to scare people off, Mike Williams. But I'm still a fan. He's still young enough as well, so I'm good. Nothing to do with any of the Cardinals, with Kyler Murray being out. They haven't addressed the quarterback situation yet. DeAndre Hopkins is going to get traded. He played well when Murray was there. DeAndre Hopkins shows he still has it. Hollywood Brown, overall disappointment. Tyreek Hill, I'm down. Jalen Waddle, I'm down. Tua Tagovailoa proved that he could keep those two values afloat. But that concussion issue, man, that's both Hill and Waddle extremely risky. You got to gulp hard when you draft those guys because you're at the mercy of Tua Tagovailoa's. I'm just putting up my easy pass because it doesn't stick to the windshield, so I got to hold it as I go under the thing. You're running a lot of risk when you draft those guys that you're hoping that Tua stays on the field. So it's scary for sure. But anyway, a lot of stuff coming up, like I said. NFL draft going to start really going heavy in on that. I wanted to do it a lot earlier, but the hype is not there yet for the draft. NFL free agency is going to be a lot of hype on that. Going to do a lot of shows, a lot of streams on that. I haven't been posting as many videos lately too because it's kind of a dead spot in the NFL now with the Super Bowl being over. But it's getting hot in here. I'm working hard on the draft guide, the fantasy football draft guide. So that's something that's taking up a lot of my time as well. So make sure you look for that. That will be coming out on Amazon. I'm also going to have a Kindle version or like a PDF version that you could just buy from me directly on the channel, on the homepage. So make sure you look for that as well. That will be up probably in the next couple of weeks. All right. So anyway, guys, just wanted to jump on, do a stream. I'll be driving back, a week from now. We'll do this again. Thanks for tuning in. Most of you are going to watch this on replay because it's so early in the morning, but hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I apologize if there were any technical difficulties going through some dead zone periods using this app, but we will talk soon, guys. Hit that subscribe, hit that